Alright, I just had a little GoPro issue this morning. I did do a bit of a capture last night just on a time lapse, and a few things here. The sheeting is all done. This bottom sheet, I think this cut needs to change because I have a lot of extra length on this bottom edge and it's rippling, so I'm going to cut this one and redo it. Everything else went pretty good. I did place all these sheets, sand the top. I do have to grind this blind nut down so that the canopy can sit further in. Everything else is fit. I'll cut all the excess sheeting off after the bottom pieces are on, and then I will go through the inside. It's all just kind of tacked in for now. I did a few different processes. You'll see in the time lapse that I had started on the top here, and I did super glue, white glue, and then I worked my way down around the edges, which was okay, but I didn't like it. So my new attack was to simply glue the entire edge and then start on one end with the accelerator, push the sheet into it, and work my way along all the way. And I did that on both sides. Once I had the top on, I just worked from the center, rolling the sheet down and tacking it into place so that I could glue that whole top edge of the next sheet, put it in, and then work along with the Instinct Cure accelerator for super glue and just push it in and tack it. Once it was all in place and sitting nice, the sheet will automatically curl around the corner a little bit, and then I just went inside and I tacked it on all the ribs and stringers as much as possible to hold everything in place. I'll flip it over really quick. I did half it off of here so I could do a quick cleanup. The bottom here, you can really see the extra length I'm talking about on this edge here. So even if I roll this in, I get a lot of buckling. Maybe I'll try it again and see if I can get it to come the rest of the way out. It's almost like I need to take a little bit of length out of the sheet so that it naturally curls and tightens up against here. Otherwise I have all these little bumps. I did fish these stringers in underneath the model. Oh, here you can see the foaming action of that super glue. It's nice. I like it. Anyway, I did fish this stringer in and these stringers in before I pulled it off the form and get them all in place. And then this piece here, I used a knife and I cut the center, not all the way through, at least halfway, so I could bend it because it goes to the curve of the bottom of the fuselage. I cut these off in just considering how I'm going to deal with all this here. I'll figure that out. I'll let you guys know what I end up doing. Yeah, so the next step here is to put the last few sheets on the bottom, which I really look forward to. Oh, and then this. Now, this is a really complex thing to figure out in CAD software or design program software, in my opinion. I've done a little bit of design work, so I know it can be quite challenging. I ran this sheet on top of this sheet. So I have a little gap right in the bottom here, which I will probably pack out. Then this piece goes in, and I'm just going to fit it to where it feels like it's right. And you can see it's short by my choice of positioning the sheeting. Then this piece will go here, and it looks like it's meant to kind of roll into place, and it creates this complex corner here. So I'm probably going to take this and cut it so it's in this plane, And then I'm going to cut this right here and turn this edge in so that I have one transition here and this line stays flat. That's just me and what I would like to see. So that's what I'll do there. So that'll take a little bit of messing around, but overall, the sheeting wasn't too bad. You can see by my fingers that yes, I was sheeting a balsa airplane. And I really like all the pre-cut sheets. I think if I were a master builder, I would cut all of the pre-made sheets again, so I have a lot more pieces, but then you got to have a lot more stringers so your stuff stays tight. Anyway, it's a good compromise. I look forward to getting the last little bit of sheeting on here, and then I will go through the whole model and do glue right on all the edges, everything. And I'll use a water-based glue so that it evaporates 50% of the weight or something like that, evaporates, versus using CA or super glue. Any weight you put in is the weight you have. Anyway, oh, and I did have an accident. These things happen. I did build the canopy, and that was a pretty cool experience, actually. I was really worried about it being a challenge, but it turned out. I did build the canopy with the fuselage sitting on the former, the jig, whatever you want to call it, and the sheets are a tiny bit short, but that's really easy to fix. You just, and this broke while I was pulling on it because it's some hard balsa in this sheet. Trying to get it around the corner was pretty challenging. Anyway, so I will cut a strip of scrap from underneath, fill that, and the rest will fill out, no problem. See if I can do this with one hand. All right. You can see the little keys are in there. I think if I were to do this, I would maybe try, I don't know if it's reasonable or not, but what I'd like to try is to get the canopy dimensions. Oh, what am I stuck on here? Oh, there we go. Alright, there we are, lined up. I'd like to figure this out. I think what I'll do is I want this line smooth, and I have an extra bit of thickness. I really like how all this turned out though. This is so nice. But I can plane this out. I'll figure it out with some balsa skin or sanding and some filler. Overall, I'm very, very excited. This is going to be amazing. And for reference, I am maybe 5 hours of straight balsa bending, getting this sheeted out to this point. The reason I chose to do the fuselage first is because it's a huge amount of work, and when it's done, I free up a lot of space because it can go into the shop where it'll go for all the sanding and filling and painting. But I will build the wings, the rudder, the tail, the whole tail, fit everything before it goes to the shop. And then it can do all of its final sanding and finishing in there. And my estimate is it'll be around 40 hours total, maybe 50 total, depending on how into the paint I get, to have a flying model. Alright, I've started cutting off all the legs, fuselage formers. I know you can use the side cutters and just break these off, but I don't mind cutting them. Got these ones from this side. You really see the plywood here. The balsa skin I've got to fix. that's all those. Just leave them up here for a minute. One thing I don't know if anyone, well, most likely not. When I join a sheet of balsa, I have a piece of tape, wax paper, parchment paper on the table. I make sure the pieces fit the way I want. I glue one edge. I push them together tight. I rub them, pushing down really hard to set the CA. And then, one thing I've learned is after you've glued it, take a sanding block and use the fine side and give it a good sand on both sides. What that'll do is it'll put dust from sanding into the crack, help fill it, and creates uniform thickness, which helps when you're bending around the corners. Other than that, it is literally just a task. This sheet here, I feel like these would be pretty fun because it's quite flat. As you can see, I'm going to have very little work in the way of getting that to fit. And getting this one to fit. Pretty straightforward. I look forward to this. After doing the top half, this will be a welcome situation. And then these fit right here. Again, this will be pretty easy compared to doing the top. I do use Windex or some evaporating tape. Liquid to soften the balsa and get it to stretch, but I mostly only needed it on this front piece. I got it good and wet, I formed it around there, and then I put it aside to dry in the shape it needed to be, so when I had to glue it, it wouldn't be that difficult to fit. You can see here, everything just kind of drops in. And this will be very good. Up here, I've got a bit of work. So that'll go quick. I need to fit this to see what I'm going to do here. Okay, that's going to go back. Okay, that can't go back too much. That'll go there. So the length here, that works. That works. That works. These overlap a little bit, which is fine. I will probably, once this piece is where I want it, I will probably I'll bring you over here and show you. I'll probably have to cut a triangle of balsa to go from here to the former, or even maybe I'll just do, yeah, it'll probably be a triangle of balsa. Either way, I've got to come up with a plan. So this looks good. On the Interceptor, I had a similar thing, and I sheeted the inside, and when I sheeted the inside, I made a ramp that covered the hole. So maybe that will be the solution here. I'll figure that out. But for now, make sure all this looks right. I gotta come up with a plan for this sheet. So I'm going to get to it and see what I get done. A little update. I ended up just cutting a vertical line to shrink the sheets. Get them around the corner. They lined up okay with the seam, but you'll see in the middle, that's what I added in there to make the center tight. And I just cut the sides, shrunk it in there. I will be adding some thickness here just to get the shape to fit better. I feel like the nose cone is a bit short, only like 3 millimeters. So I'll just build it up with some balsa. You can see right here. Oh, it's just a bit shy. So if I build it out, I just don't have to sand as much on these edges to get it all in there. Anyway, I'm out of glue, so I'm going to run down and get a couple more bottles, and I'll finish the fuselage today. Alright, I have more glue, and I had a little think about this. I'm just going to glue from the center to the outside in one go. We'll see how this works out. Put the glue right on the corner of the stringer here. Remember, this glue foams up a little bit as it dries. You don't see it right away, but the next day you'll come back and see a bunch of foam. Well, I say a bunch, a small amount, more than you might expect to see from super glue. Alright, so I'm going to kind of go out on a limb, glue this corner right up into here, and then glue this edge here. I'm going to come up with a plan. The interceptor has a piece of wood that kind of goes from this corner up to here, so I will trace this side if I decide to do that there. Might be a good plan. Okay, get back on that. I don't think I'll need any of that, because this will set pretty quick. Kind of go right on this center here. Push it down, work my way to the back here, do the same thing, pushing it down. Not bad. All right. Go over here and I'll do this. This whole bottom edge is loose, just because I couldn't see it when it was on the other way around. Make that work. this top edge of this sheet. And try not to glue my hands together. But that's kind of the way it works. Alright, I'm going to put a long strip of balsa in here to seal the corner. Probably see if this is long enough. Okay, a little run of glue on this. No idea how far it'll get, but well, let's see. Okay, I'll do that again, go right on that edge. So I'm just using my finger and the knife to make a balsa stripper. Oh, messed up. Let me see the shortness, just a touch. most of this piece will get sanded off, so just needs to help fill the hole, make this corner a little bit more solid. There we go. When I glue the inside, like I'll go inside and glue the whole thing, that will become less of a problem. Alright, so I don't know what I'm going to do there yet. I have some ideas, but it's mostly going to be like the interceptor, which is, might be easiest to carve it out of a piece of balsa. Anyway, this line here, I'm going to go this way just a little bit so I can make the transition. Something like that. Go this way just a touch more. Okay, so look at this glued in here. All right, that should work. See how this looks right here. Okay, I will shorten that a little bit just to get the shape I want on there. Yeah, so I'll probably do that right now, just glue that in because I changing the front end anyway. So I want that to be like that. I'm going to glue the heck out of this and hopefully it sticks. We're really relying on this connection right here, this top edge, and this edge. I will be able to make another one for the other side. It will look good. Yeah. Okay. Alright, so I just need to get it on the corner here. There we go. Nice. Okay. Okay, that'll be that. Do the same thing over here. This will get filled. This piece will get cut in here. I want to make this angle different anyway. Looks like this will have to have some adjustments made on this side right here. So it's hard to see. Maybe you can see this one, right, the vertical one there. I'll cut that back so I can bring this piece further in, and then I can get that the angle I want down there, bring that in, cut that to blend it, and that'll be good. All right, I'll put this on to time lapse and I will do the other side. Alright, I've got a new battery, so let's try again. Alright, I've added 2 layers of balsa to the nose, rough cut sanded them, and I feel like I can make that work much better. I don't know if you can tell in the photos or in the video, but yeah, I can make that work. Yeah, it's pretty hard to tell. Anyway, 2 layers of balsa on the nose, and it's big enough.